Crash! Crash! Crash!
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is ArghGodzirra, and today we'll be counting down my selections for the top 10 best video games of 2020. To qualify for this list, as all the other times I do a list, they need to be titles that I have played myself throughout the duration of the year. We've already uncovered how terrible 2020 has been with the global pandemic of the coronavirus, and what I felt the top 10 worst video games were for 2020. If you've missed that video, I'll put a link in the description so you can go check that out. But there's been a shining light, and this list is comprised of what I think has been the best games of the year. Now there's a couple of honourable mentions I like to make before I start, either because I didn't have the chance to play these games, or I just couldn't fit them onto this list. The two games that I have played this year that didn't make the list by smallest of margins is both Man-Eater and the Resident Evil 3 remake. And three games that I didn't get the chance to play but I'm hoping I can get my hands on soon are Hades, the Final Fantasy VII remake, and Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm certain there is a couple of titles on this list that would have made the list had I have played them, and I hope I get the chance in the future to play these games. But now, time to move on away from the honourable mentions and get stuck into this video.
Stay lucid, friend.
My sword is grown greedy.
Number 10. Among Us. It may have originally come out back in 2018, but Among Us popped up and took 2020 by storm, and it's deserving of the spotlight that it is now standing under. The premise of Among Us is simple enough that just about anybody can pick it up quickly. 8 crew members dash around a claustrophobic cartoon spaceship and complete simple minigames to fill up a progress bar. But among them are 2 hidden imposters. Well, that's if you choose to have 2 hidden imposters. You can mix that up in the settings, but there is at least 1 imposter on board with the goal of secretly murdering everyone until they equal or outnumber the crew left over and claim victory. This game is most enjoyable with a lobby full of friends and talking amongst each other in a voice chat. That way, when it comes to the accusations, the fun can truly begin. Besides, who doesn't want the opportunity to eliminate one of their friends early in a game and let the rage take over? Fucking... Ah! Number 9. Crash 4, It's About Time. It's About Time is damn right. This is a direct sequel to Naughty Dog's original trilogy that finished back in 1998. Zero was only a little 8-year-old lizard. And this team really understands Crash Bandicoot. It's all the characters and action platforming I loved about when I was a kid, with a bunch of new ideas mixed in that gives the Crash Bandicoot franchise a new sense of energy and vibrance. Crash Bandicoot 4 makes rapid-fire homages to the past of Crash Bandicoot, picking up where Warp left off, and having Crash's biggest and most delightfully handful of villains like N-Trophy, Neo Cortex, and Jin all come together again and trying to take over the multiverse. Crash has always been about the action, but the self-aware, amusing script that comes with it is just so carefully and amusingly written that you can't help but laugh, no matter what age you are. The levels created within the game, as I mentioned earlier, all just fit so well within the Crash Bandicoot mold. Whether you're running away from a large dinosaur, or taking the levels to a side-scrolling platformer feel similar to what we saw with some levels within Crash Bandicoot Warped, this is drenched in nostalgia, while delivering enough on the newer side of things to keep it fresh. Adding additional playable characters like Torna and once villain now good guy Dingodile as well, really fleshed out the story a lot further. 22 years between games, and it felt like we never missed a beat. This is truly the sequel that we both needed and deserved. Number 8. Desperados 3.
Johnny, you're straggling. Come on.
Right behind you, Pa.
Some of you might not know this, but when it comes to real-life strategy games, it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. And I grew up playing the original 2 Desperado installments, so when it came to Desperados 3, I was biting at the bit to play this game. While the Western genre may be synonymous with things like lightning-fast duels and run-and-gun shootouts, Desperado 3's real-time tactical stealth missions are best played really nice, slow, and steadily. It's the order of the day in this often fiercely challenging game that really takes the genre to the next level, in my opinion anyway. What makes the 30-plus hour journey of Desperado 3's campaign so captivating is the camaraderie shared between the 5 playable characters within the game. The banter between these characters as you make your way through each mission really helps define not only their individual personalities, but how they work together as a unit as well, making for an outlaw gang that I was consistently happy to be in charge of running. What is even greater about this particular game is that it's the franchise's first outing away from being a PC exclusive title, opening its arms to the console players who largely embraced it with open arms. This is one of the best real-time strategy titles that I have not just played for 2020, but one of the best that I have played in a very long time.
She wants to kiss me, I know it.
Number 7. Call of Duty Warzone.
Oh fuck, I just got
Shit!
up.
Call of Duty Warzone takes a vastly different approach than most other Battle Royale titles. Death is just but an inconvenience rather than the end of the game. Top tier weapons are consistently easy to come by, and skill will only get you so far when there are no more armor plates to loot. Warzone minimises the downtime you normally would have in a Battle Royale game, encouraging you to get into the fight with an aggressively fast closing circle and streamlined mechanics governing your loot. Unlike most other games in the genre, Warzone doesn't task you with micromanaging items in a limited space backpack. Instead, you have predefined slots of ammunition types, armor plating, and cash. The rest of your loadout works identically to a standard Modern Warfare multiplayer match. You have 2 weapon slots, a lethal grenade, and 1 utility grenade slot, as well as a slot for field equipment. There's a lot of innovation that has gone into the creation of this game, which in my opinion easily sits Call of Duty Warzone at the forefront of the Battle Royale genre alongside titles such as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Oh, there's a guy dropping in. No, it's a bird.
Where? It's
Oi, it legitimately looked like someone parachuting in, okay? Shut up.
Number 6. Visage. No! Visage finally got its full release earlier this year, and without any question, is one of the scariest horror games I have ever sat down to play. Not just this year, but ever. You spend your time walking through a haunted house, keeping an eye on your sanity levels throughout, because if they dip too much, that's when the paranormal activity begins. There are chapters of previous tenants that can be played, each with their own dark storylines and jump scares, and each chapter being scarier than the next, I can assure you of that. While there's other hidden items throughout the house that open opportunities for more gameplay, and, wait for it, a better ending. The atmosphere of this game is phenomenal. The horror isn't in your face or over the top like many indie horror games can fall into the trap of, and each scare is absolutely genuine. So genuine that you might need a second pair of pants while you're playing this game. If you're after 2020's definitive horror experience, I think you're looking at it right here with Visage. Have a look at her head. I'll fucking come up there and smack you, you silly old bitch. Come on! Number 5. Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Some of you might be surprised to not only see this game on my list, but to be so high up on my list too. but this honestly has been one of my favourite games of 2020, and I've sunk a lot of time into playing this in my spare time. I'd never played an Animal Crossing game prior to this one, so once I'd learnt the ropes and put in a sizable amount of hours doing so, I restarted my game. Took everything from the beginning again, hit reset, picked a brand new island, recreated my characters, had to build everything from scratch again, but I can say now that it has been tried and tested, I'm very happy with the outcome I've had, and the creativity that this game offers, although a little bit limited, is rather impressive, and there's actually a fair bit for you to do on a daily basis as well. Some of you might get bored of the constant back and forth this game has, but I think some quality of life updates in the future could help make this game a hell of a lot better. You have things like being able to fish, being able to collect insects, you can buy items from stores to make your island a bit more impressive, digging up fossils to take to your museum. But once you've filled up your museum, once your island is complete, it falls a little bit short. But that's where some online play and some villager hunting can take over, and that's where the real fun lies. For me anyway. Taking the time to go visit your friends and seeing what they have created, or actively going hunting for a new villager to come to your island, which can take hours at a time to find the right villager for you, creates enough buzz to keep you busy for a very long time. And I'm very keen to see not only what Animal Crossing New Horizons brings to the forefront in the future, but what the franchise brings as well, because they've truly made a fan out of me this year.
Nicely done.
Number 4. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is an absolutely gorgeous adventure through one of history's most strikingly beautiful landscapes, and that beauty is compounded by one of the best blade-to-blade combat systems in the open-world action genre. It's a fictional tale, told with fictional characters, but it's based on the very real invasion of Japan by the Mongol Empire in 1274. You take control of Jin, who starts off as a samurai before a disastrous battle against the invaders quickly teaches him that perhaps the honourable but restrictive ways of the samurai code might not be enough to deal with this new and existential threat. I think I spent more time traversing the vast open world and taking in the scenery than participating in the main story, which I still haven't finished, and is quite easily one of the most beautiful landscapes you'll ever explore in a video game. That being said, I personally found there are some stumbles when it comes to stealth, enemy AI, and a few general minor frustrations as well. But just about every moment where the game falls a little bit short, there is something that makes it soar again. With that being said, there's no question as to why this was a contender for Game of the Year, and why it took out the People's Choice Award at this year's Game of the Year Awards event. Number 3. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was a huge Assassin's Creed fan for a very long time, but after Assassin's Creed Unity, I dropped off into obscurity. That game kind of put me off, and I didn't touch an Assassin's Creed game since then, although Assassin's Creed Origins really tempted me. I really wanted to come back out of the depths to play that game. But Assassin's Creed Valhalla, upon being announced, instantly grabbed my attention. I'm big on Vikings and Norse mythology and everything that comes with it. This is right in my wheelhouse, and I am not disappointed with what this game has presented. Not only do you have the usual Assassin's Creed tropes of being with the Brotherhood and taking people down and stealth-based combat, but you've got the more visceral, gory, in-your-face combat of the Vikings. Being able to lead raids, stealing and looting and pillaging and everything that comes with being a Viking god really embodies everything that is in this game. Everything from the main story to the side quests just feels so right. I've done very little of the main story. I have gotten to a certain point, however, but I've spent a lot of time doing side quests and exploring and uncovering secrets, and the lore of this game just keeps getting deeper and deeper the more you go into search mode and uncover things. It is so brilliant. And the fact that this game gives you the chance to build a Viking community from nothing to something, that is a huge drawing point for a lot of people. It's had its flaws, don't get me wrong, there's some bugs and some glitches out there that have prevented progress and certain other things, but this to me right here has been one of the definitive experiences of 2020. Number 2, Cyberpunk 2077. It's me and you, Choom.
Cherry popped? Yeah.
All the way to the top, baby. Now, hear me out. I know there's going to be a lot of people who is going to see this video and pose the question, how can such a broken game be so far up your list? What a joke. Some of you are probably even sitting there at home, just like this guy.
What? What the fuck?
Sure, the game has bugs, glitches, and is almost unplayable, if you're playing it on a PlayStation 4. I'm fortunate enough to be playing this on a PlayStation 5, which delivers a much more optimized experience, and is why this game is so highly ranked on this list. The story is phenomenal, the characters are well fleshed out and have incredible developmental arcs, and not just the main characters, I'm talking about some side quest characters also. Claire from the Afterlife bar is the perfect example. And there's endless amounts of things to do throughout Night City to keep you busy for hours. I'm currently playing through this as a Let's Play series here on the channel, as some of you may know. I've easily put in over 60 hours of gameplay, and I'm not even close to finishing everything this game has to offer. Sure, there's some things I'd add and change, but this game is less than a month old. We've been promised free DLCs and updates which I'm sure will fix quality to life issues, not to mention the multiplayer that they're working on too, which I'm hoping is at the level of Grand Theft Auto Online. With all this being said, I can understand people playing on the older generation consoles are having trouble, and that is going to cause some distress, but as I said, judging this game as highly as I have is based on my experience playing it on a next-gen console. And when playing it on the next-gen console, I can assure you many people will agree that it's not just one of the best games of 2020, but possibly one of the best games you'll ever play. To Night City, Jackie.
And the afterlife.
Number 1, The Last of Us Part 2. Hey, you want another one? Yeah. Hit in the back of the head, you bastard. Get here! Now, there wouldn't be a doubt in many minds that this particular game was going to end up on my best games list, or take out the number 1 spot. The Last of Us is my favourite game of all time. Ticks all the right boxes, was incredibly innovative for a title that first released on the PlayStation 3, and presents one of the most intricate storylines in gaming history. This left people wondering, if we were to get a sequel, if it'd live up to the standards the original set before it. With The Last of Us Part 2, developer Naughty Dog rises to that challenge with not only a complex, profound story that gives it a reason to exist, but also deep and satisfying evolutions to the original's third-person action and stealth gameplay. Emotionally, this game tore me limb from limb. For those who saw my live streams, you can all confirm that I actually cried a couple of times throughout, and I've got no shame.
Joel, please get up!
I feel so fucking deflated, it's not funny. It starts off seemingly simple, taking place about 4 years after the end of the original, and setting an older, angrier, but still immune to the disease, Ellie, on a quest for revenge that also hones in on the cycles of violence that can plague humanity as much as any infection. It knowingly leans on the tropes of the genre, such as guilt by association and the inevitable escalation of matching eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, but those cliches are often subverted, playing into the expansive and not so straightforward path that lies ahead. It also introduces us to Abby, a character who makes her presence known early in the game by setting The Last of Us Part 2 story in motion, and becomes a playable character from that point onward. To a lot of negative criticism, might I add. Apparently no one wanted to play as her after she undergoes certain actions, but you need to look at her story and developmental arc from an unbiased perspective to truly understand what's going on here. Her path in The Last of Us Part 2 is a lot like Joel's in the original. Both are lost in this world, preferring to be alone. With time, they come to develop emotional connections with others around them, which spurs on attempts of redemption throughout their arcs. I don't want to give anything away by spoiling the storyline, so I'm being a little bit evasive with exact points, but when you look at this game from afar, you open your eyes to a lot more than what's on the surface. You all say Abby is the bad guy, but she was put into motion by Joel's actions in the first game. So is she just on a quest for revenge just like Ellie is? Is Joel the bad guy in this story because of what he did previously? There's a lot of questions that maybe a second or third playthrough might start unfolding answers to. Is it the perfect game? Not at all. I still stand by the fact that the original still stands supreme and will be hard to beat as one of the best games ever developed. But there's a lot within this game that is done incredibly masterfully, and makes it well deserving, in my eyes anyway, as 2020's Game of the Year. Oh, not Bullwinkle! They killed Bullwinkle! Did you agree with my list? What is your number one game or group of games for 2020? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy this video, you could do myself a huge favour by hitting that like button down below. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And if you're new to the channel and you want to support myself a little bit more, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below as well. As I mentioned, if you missed the top 10 worst games of 2020 list, that is linked in the description down below, as well as links to my social media accounts if you'd like to hit me up on those. Be sure to have notifications turned on to stay up to date with whatever goes down on my channel. But that's it from me, guys. I'm out of here, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.